Hey everyone, today I want to discuss one of the most important aspects of personal finance and probably the least understood aspect. It is health insurance. While it is very important to invest money for wealth creation, it is even more important to take a health insurance. In fact, I always say that the first thing you should do when you get a job is take a health insurance and then think about how to invest your money. Because when it comes to money management, it is very important to manage your risk. So just like when you drive a car, the first thing you need to do is wear a seat belt. Likewise, when you start your financial journey, the first thing you need to do is health insurance. But in spite of that, many people do not take health insurance. Or even if they take a health insurance, it does not suffice their need. For example, when you join a corporate job, many companies provide health insurance as a part of benefits. But in many cases, those health plans are not enough. For example, one of my friends had a health insurance from his employer. He had no idea about the terms and conditions of that health insurance. And one day, he met an accident and needed the health insurance to cover his medical expenses. But unfortunately, his medical plan had a clause that the health insurance will only cover 80% cost. So he ended up paying 20% money from his own pocket. Hospital bill was around 1.5 lakh rupee and he ended up paying 20% of that, which is around 30,000 rupees. Now rupees 30,000 is a significant amount, and if he had the right medical plan, he could have saved that money. Likewise, there are many cases where the people do not have any idea about the important features of their medical insurance. So in this video, I want to bust some common myths around health insurance and discuss some key features that you should have in your health insurance. Alright, let's get started. Myth number 5 is you don't need to disclose your medical history. I've come across many cases where the medical claim was rejected by the health insurance company. Now in such cases, we generally tend to blame the health insurance provider. But in majority of cases, it is the mistake of people who have taken the health insurance. While opting for health insurance plan, we have to fill few forms, and one of the biggest mistake people make is that do not disclose their past health record. And this is one of the biggest reason for rejection of health claims. So make sure that when you take the health insurance, you disclose your medical health track record and do not hide any medical history. Some people try to hide their medical history to save some money on annual premium, but that can be disastrous. Of course, you don't need to disclose the minute details like you had fever 10 years ago, but make sure that you cover the major health record from the past and declare all the pre-existing diseases if any. Then myth number 4 is employer provided health insurance will suffice your need. I think this is again a big myth among people who get health insurance from their employer. A complete dependence on health insurance provided by your employer can be fatal. First of all, as we discussed before, majority of health insurance policies from employer have a co-payment clause where you end up paying a fixed amount from your own pocket. Then many health insurance policies from employer might not be sufficient to cover both you and your family. So there can be case where your employer provided health insurance has a health coverage of let's say 2-3 lakh rupee, but you have certain health issue and end up requiring rupees 5 lakh. In that case, you will end up paying additional amount from your own pocket. Then your health insurance from employer might not cover various critical illnesses. It might not have the best hospital in the network, and there could be many more reasons. And the biggest challenge with employer provided health insurance is that the moment you change your job, you will lose your health insurance policy. And if anything happens during that period, then you will end up paying the entire expense from your own pocket. Now, what can be the solution for this problem? So first option is you get a separate health insurance apart from your employer health insurance. Second option is that if your employer health insurance is not enough, then you can consider taking a super top-up health plan which is more economical and cost efficient. It is because generally the health insurance plans do not provide enough health coverage. Especially the corporate health insurance plan from your existing employer does not suffice the requirement. Or if you are a senior citizen, then you might need a large health cover which your existing health plan might not provide. As we discussed before, if you have a health cover of let's say rupees 3 lakh and you end up with a medical expense of rupees 5 lakh, then you will end up paying rupees 2 lakh from your own pocket. But if you opt for a super top-up health plan, then it will take care of your additional expenses. For example, let's say you have a health insurance of rupees 3 lakh and you take a super top-up plan for rupees 10 lakh. So that in case if you break your 3 lakh limit, you can claim the additional expenses from your super top-up plan. It is especially beneficial for corporate employee and those who have a health insurance plan with very low sum assured. There are a lot of super top-up plans available in the market. For example, Navi has launched Navi Smart Health Super Top-up Plan that provide you the additional coverage after your medical cost exceed the threshold limit. With this Super Top-up Plan, you can get a large health cover at a very low premium. So this Super Top-up Plan from Navi can be used for senior citizens that might need a large health cover over and above their existing health plan. It can also be useful if you are a corporate employee where your existing employer's health plan does not suffice the requirement, or if you have a health plan but it has a very low sum assured. In case you want to explore Navi Super Top-up Plan, I have provided the link in the description. Now myth number 3 is you can claim health insurance cover from day 1. Many people think that the day they purchase the health insurance, they are covered with all sort of diseases and the medical expenses associated with the diseases. This is a big myth. Every health insurance policy has a waiting period for certain type of diseases, and this waiting period might vary between 6 months to 3 years. For example, let's say you have diabetes and you take a health insurance. Now there are chances that you need to wait for 6 months up to 3 years for the waiting period to get over for cost of treatment related to diabetes. And let's say your health insurance policy has 1 year waiting period on diabetes and you end up with medical expenses on treatment of diabetes within 1 year. Then the health insurer won't cover the cost. So make sure that your insurance policy has limited waiting period for critical diseases. Now myth number 2 is you will get complete reimbursement of the cost of your treatment. Many people who have the health insurance are under the wrong impression that since they have a health insurance, it will take care of all their medical costs. Well, it might not be true in many cases. In many cases, the health insurance policy has a clause where they have a cap for hospital room charges depending upon the total sum insured, and the excess amount need to be borne by the person. For example, let's say your health insurance policy has a room rent capping of rupees 2,500. In that case, if you end up taking a room costing more than 2,500 rupee, you will have to pay the money out of your own pocket. Then many health insurance policies have a co-payment clause where they mention that the insurer would bear, let's say, 80% of the cost and remaining 20% has to be borne by the patient. In fact, majority of group health insurance policies taken by employer for their employees have such clause. So if you have a health insurance coverage from your employer, then make sure that it doesn't have a co-payment clause, so that in case of need, your health insurance policy take care of 100% of your hospital expenses. Then there are sub-limits for other expenses like your medicine or ambulance or diagnosis test, etc., which may fall under partial reimbursement. And those small expenses can also cost you a lot. So make sure that you have a complete knowledge on the cost parameters of your health insurance. Myth number 1 is I am young and fit, I don't need a health insurance. One big mistake people make with health insurance is they delay it. They think that they are young, so they don't need health insurance. Once they get old, they will buy health insurance. Please don't make this mistake. First of all, even if you are young, you can end up with medical expenses due to accident. And if you don't have health insurance, then it will put a big dent in your pocket. And second, the right time to take a health insurance is when you are young and fit. Because when you are young and disease free, you will end up paying lower premium. Once you get old and catch disease and then try to buy health insurance, then you will end up paying a very high premium. So make sure that you take a health insurance as early as possible. So in this video, we discussed 5 common myths people have with health insurance. If I summarize, the 5 myths are: myth number 1, I'm young and fit and I don't need a health insurance. Myth number 2, you will get complete reimbursement of the cost of the treatment. Then myth number 3 is you can claim health insurance cover from day 1. Myth number 4 is employer provided health insurance will suffice your need. And myth number 5 is you don't need to disclose your medical history. Friends, health insurance is one of the most important aspects of personal finance, and considering the fact that the healthcare cost is rising at a fast rate, it is very important to not just have a health insurance but have the right health insurance, because a few days of hospitalization can cost few lakhs. I'm sure many of you would have experienced this during the COVID period. Hence, Make sure that you have the right understanding about the key features of health insurance, and make sure that you take a health plan for your entire family. And also make sure that you also know which hospitals within your city are covered in your health insurance plan, so that at the time of emergency, you would know which hospital to reach out. Also, do not only look at the premiums as the parameter to select the health insurance. A lot of people think that lower the health insurance premium, better it is. But it is not the right approach, because when you end up taking a health insurance with low premium, there are high chances that you won't get all the important features in your health insurance. And eventually, when you will need the health insurance coverage, you will end up paying a lot of money out of your own pocket. So make sure that you do your research and select the right health insurance that fits your requirement. And if you want to explore Navi Health Insurance, I have provided the link in the description. I hope you'll find the video useful. I'll see you next video. Till then, take care.